Let's go to Matthew 17. Have you heard me teach on that at all?
I
This,
don't think so. It doesn't
oh,
sound familiar.
this. Oh, okay. This will be a blessing too. This is exactly what we're talking about. I know everybody knows this story, but let's go ahead and look at it with fresh eyes. Okay, so Jesus takes Peter, James, and John, his brother, and brings them up into a high mountain apart. Now, the mountain motif in here is always the presence of God. You know, Eden was considered a mountain. Jerusalem, the city set on the hill. Moses, Mount Sinai. It's always these mountains where God is revealing himself. So the mountain theme is the presence of God. Okay, so he takes them to a high mountain to emphasize high mountain. Verse 2, he was transfigured before them. That is, Jesus was transfigured before them. I think everybody's probably fairly familiar with the story, but it says his face, that's Jesus's face, did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. Okay, so there's this interesting moment where Jesus begins to beam out, reminds us a lot of the angel sitting on top of the tomb in Matthew chapter 28. But in verse number 3, okay, so there,
Hey,
behold, there appeared unto them.
Ken, it reminds me of Moses too. Here's the
Oh yeah,
symbolism.
his face, same
Wow.
thing. It's awesome. It all points back to this time of God meeting with people and giving them information. And this is exactly what's happening in Matthew chapter 17. So there appears unto them Moses and Elias talking with him. Now that's the word Elijah. And these are the two characters. Moses is always representative of the law, and Elijah is always representative of the prophets. He's sort of like the standard representative of the prophets. Moses represents the law. So you have Jesus, the Messiah, the new covenant in him, and you have the law and the prophets. So basically you have the breakdown of the Bible here on the Mount of the Transfiguration. The law, first 5 books of the Bible, the prophets, and then you have Jesus. So Peter, oh, and there appeared Moses and Elijah talking. So Peter's thrilled, right? As a good Jew would be. Peter is like, are you kidding me? We've got the law, the prophets, and the Messiah in one place. So Peter says, Lord, it is good for us to be here. Can we keep this? I am loving this. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 houses, booths, tabernacles. Uh, I'll tell you what, let me build you a quick house. Can you guys stay? This is incredible. I just want it to stay like this. One for thee, one for Moses, one for Elijah. I mean, can you guys just stick around? I can't think of a better moment than this. The law, the prophets, and Jesus. Verse 5. While he yet spake, by the way, that means he was cut off, a bright cloud overshadowed them. And behold, a voice out of the cloud. This is the Father speaking now. He's overseeing the law, the prophets, and the Messiah. A voice out of the cloud which said, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Now here's the key, Tracy. Hear ye him. I've got Moses, the law, I've got Elijah, the prophets, and I've got Jesus. The Father singles out Jesus and he says, okay, you see these 3? Listen to Jesus. Verse number 6. When the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and they were sore afraid. Verse number 7, Jesus touched them and said, arise and be not afraid. And this is the key. When they lifted up their eyes, they saw no man save Jesus only. You know what Jesus was doing there? He was telling them, I have superseded the law of Moses. I am the fulfillment. You're no longer to listen to the law and the prophets. This is my Son. Hear him. This is the imagery. No
Powerful.
more Moses, no more prophets. Jesus is everything you need to know is in him. They came down off the mountain in verse number 9. Jesus charged them. And this is that interesting part of Jesus needed to be crucified. He says, tell no man the vision. So this was a vision. This isn't a resurrection of Moses and Elijah. It's simply a vision. And he said, tell no man the vision until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. All of these tell no man this. He heals somebody, tell no man. That is so the Romans crucify him, by the way. Paul makes that argument in 1 Corinthians 2. If they had known it was the Lord of glory, they never would have crucified him. The Gentiles are ready to accept him as Savior. So they can't know that he's the Messiah or they would never crucify him. Jesus knows this. That's why he uses parables. It is for you to know the kingdom. It's not for them. If they realized who Jesus was, they never would have crucified him. So all these strange things, once I rise from the dead, you guys can tell whoever you want. Keep it under your hat. But just so you know, because Luke 24 is coming, and I'm going to open your understanding. Remember this moment. And after I resurrect, tell everybody about this. You're no longer to listen to the law or the prophets, but this is my son. Hear him. See, once you see it, it's everywhere. This is everywhere.
It
It's
really is.
all this. Jesus' whole ministry is teaching about the new covenant and doing away with the old.